Well, good afternoon, everybody. Ron Wheeler here. Welcome to our class this afternoon, how to generate 3% per month with one option trade per week, featuring the options paycheck experience. It's good to have all of you with us. I opened up the room just a few minutes early here because I always like to make sure the technology is working. So if you can, do me a big favor. If you can see my screen, it should say on air, and then type yes if you can hear me and see my screen. Just type a yes into the chat window for me. That way I know everything is good. And my colleague Brian said for those of you streaming on YouTube, it's working there as well. So that's always a good thing. All right, let me get to my question box here. All right, looks like I see lots and lots and lots of yeses. That's good. I'm trying to expand the box out so I can see everybody. All right. I know I missed a bunch of them, but I see James and Alan and Ann and John and Mark and Michael and Drew and Robert and Alex and Derek. All right, good deal. I know I passed up a bunch of them, but I want to at least give shouts out to some of you guys that I can see. All right, good deal. So that means the technology is working so far. And as I told my colleagues in the background, I'm in Northeast Ohio right now. And just so you know, it is kind of storming here, or it's going to be storming soon. So hopefully I don't have any issues with my power or anything, but just in case you see an outage, it's probably that. I was showing my colleagues this, that I'm right here, by the way. Oh, speaking of, while I'm showing you this, let me know where you guys are signing in from too. What time is it by you? But I am right near this little area, and I was showing this to my colleagues. I'm like, I think we're going to get attacked by a dog. You see this little echo right here? I thought that looked kind of like a dog. And then this is the big storm front that's coming through our area here soon. So now you know I'm in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, just south of Cleveland, just west of Akron. Kind of curious where you guys are joining me from. Ah, Bill, Cincinnati. So you're not too far away, right up 71. I was just in Dayton a couple of weeks ago for the Ohio State bowling tournament. That was not enjoyable, but I could have bowled better. But what are you gonna do, right? Can't win them all. I see lots of you also here in the East with me as well. Phoenix, and I see you. Cleveland. Oh, Elaine, batten down the hatches. It's coming. It's coming towards us. Gotta be careful. Um, Ohio, sorry, I'm Florida. Yeah, I'd like to be in Florida too, to be fair. St. Louis, Ron, Drew, New Jersey, 3 p.m. in Calgary. Portland, all the way on the West Coast there. Excellent, excellent. All right. Ewald and Winnipeg at 4 p.m. All right, cool. So it looks like most of you guys are at least, in the North America. A lot of times we get Australia and we get all kinds of folks in Europe and everything. And then while you're talking, what do you guys do for a living? Do you work? You're retired? I'm kind of curious to see what the demographics are. And the reason I ask, when I originally put this together, I put it together as kind of a retiree thing, right? To create a low risk strategy to create income for retirees. But I've come to terms with, and it's kind of interesting because I'm 47. I'll be 48 in a couple months, but I'm 47. I've been doing this now for probably 12, 15 years, this style of trading. And I'm nowhere near retirement. Well, I'm closer than I think I am, but I guess this can work for anybody is the great part about this. Ah, Derek, radiologist, nice, semi-retired dentist. My wife always talks about that. She's like, I should have been a dentist. My wife's a nurse practitioner, but she has dentists in her family. She's like, I'm legacy at Ohio State Dental. I should have been a dentist. Elaine, I ran away from my job. Some call it retirement. I'd love to do that sometimes. I love my job, but let's be honest, being retired's got to be better. And then Michael, Robert, Wesley retired. Retired from the CME, Michael. I almost in my early 20s went to the CME to become a floor trader. I had the finances I needed, I had the backing I needed, but I just never wanted to get away from Ohio, I guess. Pilot Ron, you all working towards semi, CPA, awesome. Well, the cool part is it doesn't really matter what you do, whether you're retired or not. You can do this very, very well. Okay, this is the beauty of this. Well, it's 5 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get officially started with tonight's presentation. So the presentation is called How to Generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. Sometimes I stutter when I have to read something. When I'm just talking freestyle, I never have that problem. When I start reading, I'm like, anyway, this is featuring the options paycheck. And in today's webinar, I'm going to be showing you the system we developed here at VectorVest that's going to help you generate income in any market. The information I'm going to share with you has changed my life, and I've seen it change the lives of so many people. So I hope you're excited about it as well. In the webinar, you're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck averaging 3% per month or more. Now, keep in mind, You can do this regardless of market direction. You can do it with little to no prior experience. You can do it safer than simply buying or selling stocks. It's something that you can implement quickly. Now, I know might sound too good to be true. You might be thinking, is this legit? You want some proof? Well, I would too if I were you, because I see those annoying overhyped advertisements of, 7,000% and people in front of their Lamborghinis and this is my $3 million house that I just bought from trading and I'm 18 years old. Listen, that's all BS. I'm not like that. I like to let the results stand for themselves. I've been doing this for over 25 years. So I want to share with you my results from 2023. This is how we did. I trade a real money account with my clients. Each week we place live trades together. Now, last year we made a little over $37,000 in my $100,000 account. That's averaging 3.1% per month, or 37% for the year. Now, a couple things I want you to see out of this. Number one, you see some red in there. I don't make money every month. I make money most months, 8 out of 12, but I don't make money every month. Okay? My average winning trade is about $1,000. My average losing trade is about $1,000. That's typical. Now, for the first quarter so far of 2024, I'm kind of on the same pace. January was a slight losing month. February and March was a little bit better, up about 5.2% in February, 5.9% in March. April, I'm a little bit down right now. We'll see how the month ends up, but it's early and I've got a lot of trades on, so I'm not too worried about it. But already for the year, up 10.2%. And again, take a look at the average winning trade and the average losing trade. I do not have big losers. That's the key. I do not have big losers. All right. I try to keep my gains and my losses consistent. Now, I've been teaching this technique to students since 2016. One of my recent students sent me this email in December, and he said, "Hey, Ron, just wanted to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using the method and tracking my performance and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only $5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24.9%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retire in-laws to help them grow their account in retirement." I love to hear that. And that's also a lesson for you. You don't need to dedicate 100 grand to do this. You can start small while you learn and practice because it builds up quickly. For example, if you started with $5,000 and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years, that's over $1 million. Now, obviously, if you start with a little bit more, like 25,000, you'd be at that million after 10 years. You're looking at some serious money. Now, clearly, if you have more than $5,000 or $25,000, you'd obviously get there much, much faster. Now, some of my clients were kind enough to share their photo and their results with you today. We're going to talk about a few of them. These are real people just like you. And as I teach you the system today and share their stories, pay close attention because you might find you're in a very similar situation as they are when they first started. Now, my name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for over 25 years. I started in 97. When I first started trading, I didn't trade options. I didn't like options at all. In fact, I was a commodities trader. I day traded commodities. I was an S&P trader. I traded bonds. I traded the euro. I traded lots of the different corn and wheat and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of traders, when I first started out, I didn't have a lot of success. I blew out a couple of my first trading accounts. And like a lot of people, the reason I was losing because I was essentially trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. So if I bought something, whether it was the S&P or corn, it had to go up. If I went short something, it had to go down or I lost. So if I wasn't right, I'd lose money. And then the second part of that is you got to make sure your winners and losers are comparable, right? You can't make $1,000 on your winners and lose $3,000 on your losers. That's very hard as a trader. These are the things that you have to overcome to be successful. Well, I overcame it and I liked trading and I was good at it and all that kind of stuff. I never really liked options. My job at the time was I worked for a company that provided technical analysis software. And we had traders that, worked on the floor. We had traders that were hedge fund guys. In fact, one of our clients was a hedge fund manager out of the Midwest, but he was an options guy. He used our analysis to actually help him trade options. And he happened to come into our office one week because he was in town and wanted to visit us. And he's like, Ron, I know you're not a big options fan, but maybe it's because you've been doing it wrong. I said, hey, that's very possible. Let me see what you do. So he showed me kind of the institutional way of trading options, becoming an option seller. And the beauty of that is that he showed me how I could use options to make better decisions. I could make money even if I was wrong on the trade. And he showed me trading methodologies where when I was wrong, I only lost a small amount. The money management, the probability was all stacked in my favor right from the beginning. It really turned me on to the options world, and I started dabbling more and more with options. Fast forward to probably about 12, 15 years ago, I converted to being a sole options trader. I don't day trade much anymore, if at all. All I do now is I trade options. And it all came and all started from that one conversation that I had with one of our clients, back probably 20 years ago. Now, what I'm going to do with you today is I'm going to show you the system that I use, that I built for myself over the last 20 years that helps generate these types of returns. Case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this, and they'll show you our system so that if you learn and follow our strategies, you can do the same. And I also want you to stay with me to the end. It takes about an hour and 5 hours and 10 minutes. I put together a checklist to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF that I'll put right on the handout section of GoToWebinar. I'll just drop it right in there. You can click on it, print it out. But remind me when we get to the end because most of the time I actually forget. Okay? All right. Why is this such an important topic? Because without an income system, it's on you, and that creates a number of problems for us. If you're not retired, it keeps you stuck in a situation where we have to work in order to live. Whether you got a lot of money or no money at all, concerns about finance are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether we'll have enough or if we're going to run out of money, that can have an impact on our lives, our health, and even our relationships. If you're already retired, you might be watching your savings get depleted faster than you can fill it, especially with prices going up so much like they have been. If things don't improve, you may feel you'll have to continue to work or you'll have those losses that draw down your account. You might even fear you'll have to give up on investing and go back to work. Worst case scenario, you run out of money during retirement. However, with a good system that helps you generate income, things are a lot different. And I think this is probably one of the most important points of the webinar. So please pay attention to this. Write down what I'm about to say. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So let me say this again. In order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So whether you're still working or retired, that ability to generate income from your investments, it's one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. This is going to allow you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire younger. And as I said, I believe this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'm just going to say this again. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free or have the ability to retire. For example, Brian is a client of ours who's a great example of how easy you can become proficient at drawing an income from the market, even if you don't want to invest a lot to begin with. Brian said he had some health problems and needed a way to supplement his income. By using the options paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profit, starting with only $6,000. He said he had 100% winning trades in his first 10 months, 31 of 31 winning trades. This is just our basic index system. Now, the key point here is it wasn't beginner's luck. It was the result of following the system. It's the system that helped him get those 100% winning trades and create that $23,000 in profit starting with just $6,000 in 10 months. Now, the first thing you need to do to take control of your returns, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month. It allows you to win even if you're wrong. The reason why you want to be the casino or the house is that, well, number one, the house always wins at the end. Number two, the reason why the house always wins is because they control and they stack probability in their favor. And the options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. So the obvious question is, how do you do that? Well, the first step is that shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his broker. Bruce focused on our SPX index system, and that's our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from $100 to $497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system, and the whole thing takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. Here's an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so you either buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, mainly that's what you were taught to do when you started trading options, right? If you think a stock will go up, you buy a call. If you think a stock will go down, you buy a put. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up or it doesn't go up enough, which is even worse. It actually does what you thought it was going to do, but it doesn't go up enough, and that call you bought ends up expiring worthless. Has it ever happened to you? Yes? Well, what's the problem causing you to lose? And by the way, this is one of the reasons that I really was not an option fan when I first started trading, because of stuff like this. Most people feel the problem is maybe they picked the wrong stock. Fair. Maybe it was the wrong strike price because they didn't know about options, or the wrong expiration date because they weren't trading options right. Well, let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not necessarily your fault. It's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer, because this is how you get ahead of everyone else. It's how you put probability on your side. It's how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. As a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner. Because when you buy something, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. And vice versa if you think a stock will go down. But instead of having a buyer's mentality, we're going to have a seller's mentality. Now, instead of hoping a stock goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of the stock just needing to go in your direction, we can pick a price. For example, this stock is trading for about $204. I pick a price at $195 that says, as long as we stay above $195, I'm profitable. Think about what that does. You pick a price underneath the stock, and as long as we stay above it, you can make money. If the stock goes up like you think it's going to, you make money fast. If the stock goes sideways, you make money a little slower. And if the stock comes down, you can still make money. If it drops below that 195, you're going to take a small proportional loss. Right from the start of the trade, probability is in your favor. And in some trades, we can even choose a lower price, like in this case, 190. That gives me a 70% chance of success. You can only do this as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor, and this is the definition of an income trade. An income trade, very simply put, is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction, right? So like when you go to your job, typically if you make a bad decision or two, they're not going to dock your pay. You're still going to get your income. You're still going to get your paycheck. It's where I get the idea from, right? Now, if you make lots of bad decisions, well, okay, then that's different, but you know what I mean. Now, Bruce, by the way, continues to trade with me every week. In fact, he posted on our private group and he said, hey, another day of trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. And that's a great picture of being financially free. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options, but said he lost on each of his trades. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to lose on each trade? Well, eventually he just gave it up. He eventually tried to learn more about options, but never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He said he didn't have any set criteria. All this knowledge, but no efficient way to use it. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of being an option seller, and he said a switch got flipped. He became an income machine. After he learned the system, he immediately went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of 12 grand in 4 months. And again, that key lesson here is going from buyer or the gambler to the seller or the house. That turned his situation around immediately. He was so proud of his success, he even sent me the spreadsheet of his trades. Here's Mike's results. I want you to notice the number of winners compared to losers, and that's typical. Also, notice the length of the trade, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. He's basically pulling in about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. Now, he focused, Mike did, and like a lot of our students when they first start out, they start trading the SPX, which is the index that tracks the S&P 500. That only involves one trade per week and has averaged about 4.5% per month since 2016. The odds are stacked in your favor on these trades. You're not looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. You're growing your account steadily each year. And that's really the key takeaway. Home runs might look good, but singles are what win the games. These singles are what will enable you to preserve your capital, never run out of money, and to be able to do those things that you want to do. Okay, so you've seen by flipping that switch from buyer to seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to capitalize and stack the odds even further in our favor by understanding the 3 most common buyers, or what I like to call gamblers' mistakes. Option mistake number 1 for buyers. They choose unrealistic strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. Here's a stock. Now let's say someone's bullish on the stock. A mistake a lot of option buyers make is they buy calls with strike prices way up here. Why do they buy these options? And let me tell you why these are bad. The stock's trading at around 217. You buy an option at $230. That means the stock has to go up like $18 for you to make any significant amount of money. It has a very low chance of hitting that $230 price. Well, why do they buy those options if there's such low percentage chance of being a winner? Because they're cheap. Most buyers treat options like lottery tickets, and most of the time they lose. Now, since there's always going to be buyers out there buying these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option that has a low probability of getting hit. And since it has a low probability of getting hit, that means you have a high probability of winning. And the same goes for puts. There are people who buy puts way below the market, either as lottery tickets because they think the stock is going to go down, or maybe they own the stock and just want to buy what's called a protective put. Listen, it doesn't matter. Since there's always buyers out there buying these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. Because when you sell these options, it gives you a 60 to 90% probability of success right from the very start of the trade. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose options that have expiration dates way too close to the current date. It's like if you go to the grocery store and you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. It's cheap, but that's because it expires that day. So you either go home and cook it that day, or you're just throwing your money away. And the same is basically true for options. Here you see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days to expiration. Notice that we're about 180 days to expiration. And as you get closer to expiration, the time value of the option slowly starts to decline until right about here. Then the decline becomes exponential. In the last 45 days of an option's life, the value of that option declines significantly. Now, unfortunately, a lot of buyers, they buy these options with less than 45 days until expiration. Again, why do they buy these options if there's so little time left? Because the options are cheaper. It's like buying a lottery ticket. But by doing this, you're stacking probability against you. You're not giving the stock enough time to make its move. And that time decay is eating into any profits that you'd be making. So instead of buying options in that window, we're going to sell options in that window. And to be more specific, our stock trades are within 21 to 45 days of expiration. That's the sweet spot. So let me explain it to you another way. This is Home Depot. Let's say you think Home Depot is going to go up. You go out there around 40 days, and you buy a call. That expiration is too close. Look at how the value of that option declines very, very quickly. So even as a buyer, if the stock is moving in your direction, the decline of the option premium is eating away any profits you have. That's not good. That's bad for you as an option buyer. But you're going to be the option seller now. That time decay works in your favor. Remember this. There's always going to be people buying options that have expirations too close. You may as well be the one who sells them that option. Let them be the gambler. You be the casino. You always win in the end. Now, the third mistake that buyers make is they buy overpriced options. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Here's two stocks. I want you to look at the top here. Notice, both stocks right around the same price, right? They're within 12 cents of each other. But even though the two stocks have the same price, look at the option premiums. The one on the left is $910. The one on the right is $180. The one on the left is like 4 times more expensive. Why? Because that option on the left has a very high volatility value, and that leads to the option being overpriced. Now, buyers who buy these options are paying too much. What's the big deal, right? We're all used to paying higher prices right now. You know, I go to the store, buy a pint of strawberries, it's $5. Yeah, it's a bummer they're overpriced, but they still taste the same, so that's good. Well, what happens when you buy options that are too expensive? Well, let's find out. Here, over the next month and a half, the stock goes up $8 a share. If you would have bought the option on the left, you would have lost money. You got direction right, but you still lost money. Over on the right, you had like a 400% return on your money. Your $180 investment has now turned into $900. Okay? Why the disparity? Why the difference? It all tracks back to that volatility. That buyer on the left paid way too much. So instead of buying these overpriced options, we're going to search these guys out to be the seller. Think about that. As an option seller, you could be wrong on direction, still make money. Now, the benefit of selling these overpriced, expensive options is the more money we get when we sell an option, the least amount of monetary risk we have. We collect more, we have a less monetary risk, and we can stack probability even more on our side. Overpriced options, thumbs up for selling. Bob is one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he ended up being broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The options paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn those mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. In 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79.1% winning trade percentage. Remember, in order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now let me turn it over to you. In the chat window, share with me. For those of you that have ever been options buyers before, have you ever made any of those mistakes? Type yes or no in the chat. I'll give you a second to type that in. All right, sorry about that. I had a little extra break there. I had to take a drink of water. I see lots of yeses, yes, yes. Michael says no, that's good. I like that. Elaine, you're new at this, never done it before. By the way, I really enjoy teaching new people. I always use this as a description, by the way. Here's the cool part, right? I golf and I bowl. I wish that I could go back and forget everything I know about those two sports/activities and learn right from the floor, the ground up first, the right way the first time. I can't do that anymore. It's too late. But for those of you that are new at options trading, guess what? You have that ability to learn properly right from the ground floor. The bottom line is most of us, 99% of the people have made those mistakes, and it's not your fault. We weren't taught a good system. It's as simple as that. Now that you want to be an option seller, hopefully you're kind of getting an idea of why this is good. I want to talk about how to trade with very little risk. Because when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they think it's risky. However, the options paycheck system uses a low risk strategy for selling options, and this is why it's such a core strategy we teach our retirees. And why is reducing risk so important? Because most people who don't use the options paycheck system, they're not preserving their capital. They have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of winners. And when that happens, it's very hard to recover. When you get those large losses, it takes a long time to recover from that. But when you do this right with the right system in place, you're going to have built-in protection. You're going to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. You're never going to put yourself in a position where one bad trade can spoil a bunch of winners. You'll never put yourself in that position because you'll know before the trade is placed what your risk is. And that risk doesn't change. When you confidently select stocks, set your trades up in a way that reduces risk, it allows you to preserve and grow your capital. And like I said earlier, those home runs look good, but singles are what wins the games. Now, one of the most common questions we get is, can I trade options in an IRA? A client of ours, John, grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using the paycheck system. John had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. In 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than double the size of his IRA, while again, he said he spent no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. I have an IRA that I trade with this as well. So IRAs are doable for sure. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts here of what we're doing. The options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, similar to the graph you see here. Then, instead of selling naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do that. Traditional option selling systems leave you with all of this risk down here. What we're going to do in the paycheck is we're going to shrink your risk to this. So let me show you how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's really a beautiful graph. It's moving up nicely. So it's understandable why you'd want to be bullish. Now, traditionally, what somebody would do is they would go out, buy the stock right here. Maybe they're still going to be stuck in their old ways and buying options, so they're going to buy a call that's near the current price of the stock. You're not going to do that anymore. You're not the buyer. You're the seller. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go underneath the stock, and you are going to sell a put. Stock's at 137.57. In this case, I sell a 135 put. When I sell that 135 put, I receive a premium. I get paid. In this case, $200. If I did it on 10 contracts, I'd get paid $2,000. Now, the problem is when you sell that option, this is your risk. There is the potential you can sell this trade, collect $2,000. That's your maximum profit that you can make. If the option expires with no value, you will make $2,000. However, there's also the chance that the stock falls dramatically, you could lose $25,000. That's not good. Here's why this happens. I want to explain the mechanisms here of being an option seller. When you sell something, it's not like when you sell your car or you sell something on Facebook Marketplace, the guy comes or girl comes, picks up the thing, give you the money, they Venmo you, whatever. You give them the merchandise, the transaction's complete, you're done. Options, when you sell them, it's very equivalent to an insurance policy, right? When I buy my car insurance, very near and dear to me because I just paid my premium. I paid a 6-month premium for my cars. I wrote them a check. For the next 6 months, they have to protect my cars. If I get into an accident, they pay to fix it. If I don't for the next 6 months, the premium and the policy expires. They keep the premium, and on we go for as long as I want insurance. The way an option works is this. If I sell you a put, that contract says I have to buy the stock at 135 if you choose me to do it. Okay? I may be obligated to buy the stock for 135, just like the insurance company may be obligated to provide me repairs. Now, let me tell you something. In my 15 plus years of being an option seller, I've never actually had to go out there and buy the stock from one of these transactions. It might have to happen, but it's never happened to me. That's because I work this into my exiting, right? So, worst case scenario, the stock tumbles. I am forced to buy the stock for 135. Now the stock is trading at 110. I have a serious loss on my hands. So how do we prevent that from happening? It's really easy. All we do is we go out there, go a little bit lower in price, and we buy an insurance policy. We're going to buy an insurance policy at 130, and it's going to cost us $100. So when I sold the option, I got paid $200. When I bought the insurance, I paid $100. I'm still going to get paid $100 to place this trade. If I did 10 contracts, I could get paid $1,000. That means I can make $1,000 on this trade as a maximum. Now, if the absolute worst case scenario happened, let's say something unexpected came out of the woodwork, the stock dropped to $100 the next day. If my obligation came in and I was forced to buy the stock at 135, my insurance policy says that I can sell it to somebody else for 130. I only lost $5. That's it. I lost $5 a share on that stock. Okay? That's the most I could lose. Now again, I tell this to you to understand how the trade works, the nuts and bolts of it. I've never had to do that. I've never actually had to go out there and do that, ever, in 15 plus years of trading. I've never done that before, where I've had to go out and buy the stock and then sell it to the other person, exercise I've never done that. Now, some of you might say, well, Ron, if you've never had to do that, why the insurance? Well, the insurance makes it a trade that even a beginner can make because you get easy options, opportunities for that. It also decreases the amount of money that you have to put up to place the trade. It's just a very good thing to have that insurance policy. Plus, you have disaster insurance too. It's really nice. Now, when you place this trade, here's what you're doing. If the stock goes up, what happens is the value of those options that you did a transaction on will start to decrease. You got paid $1,000. Now that contract that you sold somebody for $1,000 might only be worth $900 or $800 or $700 or $600. And these contracts trade freely back and forth. Thousands of options contracts are traded back and forth every day. It's like a stock. When I buy a stock, I can exit at any point I want to take profits. Options trades are the same thing. Once I reach my predetermined profit target, I exit the trade and I'm done. If the stock goes up, I make money very fast. If the stock goes sideways, I make money a little slower. If the stock goes down, I can still make money. And as long as it stays above 135, I'm still in position to where I can make money on this trade. If it goes below 135, I exit the trade with a very small proportional loss. Okay? If I can make 1,000, I'd want to risk no more than about 1,000. Simple as that. Now, let me set up a couple trades with you. I want to show you a few examples of trades I did with my clients last year to kind of give you a better understanding of how to set them up. So I'm going to be showing you some numbers now. You're going to be paying attention here. Now, first and foremost, we trade off of market direction. So when the market is bullish, we're placing bullish income trades. And a real quick tip, we like to pick option strikes with at least a 60% probability of winning. So let me show you first what a good bullish stock looks like. This is a good bullish stock. This is Pulte Group. Look at how nice it's been moving over the past, 9-10 months? Going up, making 52-week highs. It's a beautiful stock. It's a beautiful stock, right? I was trying to get a little Shane Gillis in there. It's a beautiful stock. Now, we're going to sell an option 21 to 45 days away. Looking at where this is right now, it's probably about 30 days out, roughly 25 to 30 days out. So what we want to do, we're going to go to our option chain and our broker tells us this information. And I'm going to look at some options. I look at my options and I see that I can sell a $75 put. The stock is 76. Over the next 25-ish days, it has a 56% chance of staying above 75. Not bad. That gives me a 56 probability of winning, 44% probability of losing, right? I can do a $73 option. That gives me a 73% chance of winning, 27% chance of losing. Or I can go all the way down to $70. I have a 91% chance of winning and only a 9% chance of losing. Now, when I say the winning losing part, remember what I'm referring to is this. As long as the stock in the next 25 days stays above this, that's a win. As long as it stays above this, that would be a win. Stays above this, that would be a win. And these are the corresponding percentages that I have. Okay? Now let me ask you a question. Knowing that, knowing nothing else, who would rather have a 91% success rate trade, a 73%, or a 56% success rate trade? Type to me in the chat, which one would you prefer? Knowing nothing else, what would you like? Brian, you were first. Okay? 91%. John, 91%. Another Brian, Brian M. You said B, 73. Okay, that's fair. 91, 91. Gary, Elaine. A couple of you are saying 73. Wayne, 70 or 91. All right, so here's the thing. In a perfect world, I would rather be 91% right. I would. Who wouldn't want to be a 91% right trader, right? Well, the problem is this. That 91% trade, let's say you make $1,000 when you're right and you lose $15,000 when you're wrong. You can make 9 winning trades in a row and make $9 grand, but if that one loser comes in, it's going to wipe out all your gains and then some. You can't trade at 91%. I wish you could, but you can't. It's too risky. The monetary losses are too large typically at that percent of probability. Now, the golden area is in that 60 to 70% range. So for those of you that said 73%, that's pretty much where you want to do these trades, right in that 60 to 70% area. All right? The reason being is because this is where we can get that good success rate and we can get that risk reward, which makes it so you could have a $1,000 winner and a $1,000 loser. So when the trades go against you, you're not getting slammed. Okay? Now, this trade, I did at 73 bucks, 73%. This is called a bull put spread. I went out there, I sold a $73 put, and in the same transaction, I bought a $70 put. Now, in this trade, I brought in about $1,800 in premium. So when I took on the trade, I got paid about $1,800. My goal is to make about half that. So 3 days later, the trade that I sold for like $1,800 dropped down to $870. I was able to get out of that trade and lock in profits and exit all of my options positions. I was able to find another trading partner to take that obligation off my hands. And they did. Now, that's how the trade works. This was a quick one, 3 days. What happens when the market's bearish? In fact, the market's turned bearish now. I placed my first, well, I can't say that. I placed my first bearish trade on Monday. I did a bearish trade on the S&P, which actually closed like the very same day. And then today, I continued on my bearish trades, and it placed 5 more bearish trades. So now the market's turned bearish. Well, what we do is we look now for stocks that look like this. This was Target last year, right before the summer. Target had been in an extended downtrend, broke below support. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. Now, I think this stock is going to go down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at options above the current price, right? So I think it's going to go down. I need to look at above and try to sell something up here. All right, well, what do we sell? Here's what we look. We look at our options broker, and here's what we see. We see a 135 option for 64% probability. We see a 140 at 76%, or we see a 145 at 85%. Well, knowing what you know a little bit more now, which option would you prefer? 64, 76, or 85? Knowing what you know now, what do you think? All right. I see Elaine, you're talking 64. B, Wayne, John, 64%. I see a couple of you at 76%. All right. So here's the cool thing. Those of you that said B and those of you that said C are absolutely right. Either of those options would be fine. Well, Ron, if both of them are fine, how do you know which one to use? Here's how you do it. You are going to sell the option that gives you the highest percentage probability with the right amount of risk reward. I will sell an 85% option if the risk reward comes out right. I will sell a 76% option if the risk reward comes out right. I am going to sell the highest probability I can with the proper risk reward. And in this case, those of you that said B, you were right. That's the one I actually traded. Now, this trade's a little bit different. It's called the bear call spread. Bear, because you do it when the market's bearish. Calls, because now we're selling calls. So I'm selling a 140 call and I'm buying a 145 call as my insurance leg. And spread, because you're doing two options in the same transaction. Now, when I did this trade, I took in about $1,575. So I sold the trade. I collected $1,575. This trade, in 7 days, I get out for half profits. And that's what I do. If I sell something for $1,000, I exit at $500 in profits. Because history shows that that's how you make the most money. I know it's weird. How can you make more money by taking less in profits? Because you're going to be right a lot more. That's the cool part about this. Okay? So I was out of that trade in about 7 days. And the stock really didn't move very far. It went from like 130 down to like 127. That was it. But that's 7 days because of time decay and because the market did move in my direction, I was able to get out of that trade and take my profits in. Okay? So those two trades, by the way, those were part of my record I showed you at the beginning for my profits last year. All right. Another client I worked with is Jim. Now, he said prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent. He felt unsatisfied. He kept thinking there had to be something else out there, something that had to be better. You ever felt that way? Like there's something more out there? He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing that would provide more of a regular income with a higher probability of success. He said after learning the system of being an option seller, he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. His average trade lasted about 8 days. That makes sense. Our average trades are about 7 to 10 days. Sometimes they're a little bit quicker, sometimes they're a little bit slower. Okay? But can you imagine how that must feel to be going from being inconsistent to where all of your trades are generating income? Now, that was Jim. What about you? What would an income system like this allow you to do? Give me some responses in the chat box. What could you do with an extra, let's say, 3% per month on 50,000 bucks, right? What could that do for you? Extra vacation, pay off some bills, pay your mortgage faster, buy a good car, John, I like it. Supplement your income, Elaine, exactly. Pay my taxes, Michael. Pretty fitting since today is April 16th or 17th, pardon me. I finished my taxes on Monday night. I got them in at about 7 o'clock, right at the deadline. I like to do that right at the end, you know? I like that, Brian. Tell the boss to. Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, I don't want to say anything negative because I really do. VectorVest is the best company I've worked for, bar none. It really is. I really do appreciate the people I work with and work for. So, but that freedom is nice. To be able to do it, even though you don't want to do it, but to be able to do it is definitely nice. All right. So, we said before that buying is gambling and selling is about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor. That's what helps you generate income. The options paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd rather be the gambler or the casino. Because remember, the house always wins in the end. Yeah, the house may have a bad day, but they're going to always win in the end. Being the option seller is the way you make consistent income every month. It allows you to do it safer with a higher probability of success than simply buying and selling stocks on their own. Now, I want to put this together. I want to show you how you can have a bulletproof system which lets you do this in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, my students who have implemented this system told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why? Because one of the biggest things people ask me is, well, how much time is it going to take me? And that's a great question. Well, here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to be able to find and pick the right stock with the right strategy. When do you get in? What expiration? What price? What do you do if it goes for you? What do you do if it goes against you? When do you get out? All that stuff. And sometimes it feels like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack because there's so much information out there, you don't know where to look. You spend hours researching trades, going from guru to guru looking for advice. Without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through the maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful. It's disheartening. With the right system, though, you can identify good trades, get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. But You have to have a system, and not just any system, a straight line system, a simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the options paycheck system in the order they go in. No one else teaches option selling this way. It's just like the secret sauce. There's 6 pieces. The top 5 build on each other, and then the 6 kind of ties it all together. At the top of the system comes market direction. A lot of traders ignore this and they just go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish. So you have to know how to do that. When do you go bullish? When do you go bearish? By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. You're only looking at one of 2 possible scenarios. Our paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. Now, after you know the direction of the market, you want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction of the market. Just trading the stocks you know or listening to the gurus on TV, it's not the best choice for this. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market is rising. You want to find bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market is falling, just like you saw with Pulte and Target. Our paycheck system saves a lot of time in 2 ways. We look at 2 main factors, fundamentals and price trend. We have pre-built searches in VectorVest, which we use instead of digging through all of that data that the institutions throw at you. Once you have your list of stocks, you want to select the best ones for option trading. Earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on options price. The paycheck system focuses on selling options with volatility in that upper end of the range, but we don't stop there. To take even more risk out of the trade, we filter out anything with upcoming earnings and make sure that the expiration date is in that 21 to 45 day sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from a broker to help. We have a proprietary search tool which helps you find these things in a matter of seconds. Now it's time to set up your trade. You want to pick the one that has the highest probability of success, but wait, there's more. You pick the strike prices that give you the biggest possible credit, and it's far enough away from the stock's price that you have a small chance of losing. However, you also have to make sure the risk reward is proper. Okay? The risk reward is the critical component of this. This is key. Now, before you place that trade, you got to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. You never want to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our options paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. This can be set up in advance with your broker. If a trade goes against you, and we have a simple adjustment strategy that you can use to bring in more income that minimizes your losses. We also know exactly when to exit a trade, and I set that order up in advance with my broker. That way it happens automatically and very unemotional for me. Now, lastly, you'd like a way to do this quickly. You don't want to be spending all day on the process. So you need a tool that allows you to do these things, and it should be something you're comfortable using. Some brokers have tools that are better than others. Some you might find some paid tools to be more effective. We like to use our proprietary tool from VectorVest called Options Pro. That helps you save so much time. And speaking of time, we talked earlier about Mike and Jim, each of them getting them results in about 15 minutes a day. Well, so is Hugh. He told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said he sought the proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have a proper work-life balance. Are you like that too? Do you spend too much time on the things you don't want to do and not enough time on the things you want? Now that Hugh has learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and is able to have more fun. In his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. So I want you to do this. I want you to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of your system where you're good. For example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the direction of the market, put a little star there. If there's an area where something isn't working or you need a little work, put a little frowny face. For example, if you don't know how to manage or repair a trade, put a frown there. Don't overthink it. Take about 10, 15 seconds. I want you to give yourself a star or a frown. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So let me ask you, What areas do you need to work on? Share with me in the chat. What areas do you need to work on? All right. John, you said adjustment. Rahendra, 5. All of them, Elaine. Risk management, Ron. Aaron, all of them. Tools, Michael. And determining the stock. Alex, courage. Interesting. Kind of interesting. There's nothing wrong with that. All but market direction, Gary. So I read a few of them from you guys. Here's the bottom line. We need to get to where you have stars all the way down, because once you do, you'll be able to generate income every month and do so in less than 15 minutes a day. So listen, I can't know your exact reason for coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you're trading blindly, bumping from one wall into the next, leaving you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim did before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and all those small losses are just killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now, today, I showed you the secret to fixing that, and it's a secret that I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. How you can do it with very little risk, even less risk than buying and selling stocks. You saw the system to get consistent income every month. And I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day, so they never have to worry about retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating your consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. That means there's 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They're going to be buying all the options and making all the mistakes we talked about. Listen, can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who will buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as they're out there, they need the casino. Remember the old saying, the house always wins in the end. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Just like you saw Brian do, and Bruce, and Bob, Jim, Hugh, and John. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement the options paycheck system in my portfolio right now? Well, you have a choice. Option number 1 is you can do nothing. Stay exactly where you are right now. And listen, if you already have enough to retire, you're not worried about running out of money, then you may not even need the paycheck system. It's a great place to be. But on the other hand, if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other options. Option number 2 is you can do it alone. You can try to learn how option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, and then learn to analyze the thousands of stocks to find the best ones to trade. Hope you pick the right one, manage it correctly. If you're willing to do the work, spend hours in front of your computer, learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. Option 3 is simple. Let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you'll have that simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. So of those 3 options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. There's 2 types of people. Person number 1 is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action or do anything to make it happen. Person number 2 is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. And since you've dedicated enough to be with me to this point, I'm willing to bet you're person number 2, and that makes you the perfect candidate to get started on your first options paycheck. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The options paycheck experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads, even if you have never done this before, even if you've never traded an option before. The options paycheck experience is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches you the secret to generating consistent income with options. Why? Because we show you exactly how to find, set up, and manage option spreads to generate income, and how to do it safely and consistently, whether the market's bullish or bearish, so you never have that fear of running out of money. After going through this experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the fancy terms, so you no longer have that fear of options. You're going to have clear signals telling you whether to place a bullish or a bearish trade and when to place no trade. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that make the best candidates for your options income trades using a rules-based approach, and this is going to save you a lot of time. You're going to be able to set up income trades that give you a base level of 70% success rate. Again, even if you've never traded an option before. You're going to have a trade management game plan in place prior to placing your trade, so you know how to handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker, whether you're a pro or whether it's your first trade. You're going to implement a system that helps you safely and consistently generate income. Now, the course itself is 8 modules, and we made them each, so each module builds on the one prior. As you go through the modules, you're getting closer and closer to that end goal, which is that consistent system for income. Now, for those of you that are newer to options, the first 2 modules are what we call the options foundation modules. A lot of people try to build their successful income portfolio, but they base it on a portfolio of a weak foundation of knowledge. And listen, we understand what it's like to learn options for the first time. We've been there. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you're going to gain from Module 1 is you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work. That way you can confidently use them in your trades. You're going to know which terms to pay attention to, what you can ignore. That way you're not wasting time or getting frustrated. In Module 2, you're going to learn what a spread is and how it works. You're going to be filled with all the confidence that you need to start building this income system around these new trades. Now that you've constructed a solid foundation of options knowledge, it's time to lay out the step-by-step system to placing income trades that generate your paychecks. Each step along the way from here is going to stack probability in your favor and reduce risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, you're going to get complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at just all the trades in the world, you're going to narrow your focus. You'll know whether to place bullish trades, bearish trades, or when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. That's going to stack even more probability in your favor. The outcome here is you'll know how to quickly find the best stocks and indexes to trade that are going to give you the highest probability. Now that you got your list of stocks, we're going to narrow those down to the best option candidates. Not every stock is going to be a good candidate. We got to know, using the rules in this module, that you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in Module 6 by the way you set your trades up. Here, you're going to make sure your trade has the perfect combination of risk and reward, and you're going to know exactly where to set your strikes. Great trades, they don't happen by accident. They happen because of careful planning and strategically setting them up correctly from the beginning. You've got your trade picked out, you're ready to go. Module 7, you're going to have your plan in place so you know when to exit the trade, not only to take profits, but to minimize losses. You will never be frozen like a deer in the headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you'll know how to react, and that allows you to trade completely stress-free. Now that you got your best stock, you set up your low-risk, high-probability option trade, you mapped out your management game plan, now it's time to place it. This is going to break down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps that you'll have committed to muscle memory in no time. We even put everything you need into a checklist. That way you never miss a step. So when you're first starting out, it's comforting having that security blanket to make sure you did everything correctly. Plus, placing trades with your broker can be intimidating. So in addition to video walkthroughs of several popular brokers, we put together click-by-click directions for the most popular broker, Schwab's Thinkorswim platform. Now, before we talk about the low price of the course, I want to make it even more low risk for you. We offer a 100% money back guarantee on the course. We are putting our money where the mouth is. Okay? I know you've probably been promised things in the past about how great this is. Well, guess what? If you take the course and you don't think it is, you can get your money back. You can go through the entire course. And if you're not satisfied that we taught you how to profit using options, just notify us within a week of finishing the course and you get all your money back. It's completely no risk. All we ask that you give it your best effort. Come to the classes, or you can watch the recordings, do the assignments, because we know if you do, you'll get those results. And if you don't do the work, you won't be eligible for the refund. The reason why I have such a refund policy like that is because I only want to attract those who are excited to jump in and do the work to get the results. I want to attract serious investors. In order to do that, when I make a policy that says you have to actually do the course, I tend to attract people who are serious about getting their results. And when you do the system, you're going to be learning a system that averages 3% per month. That's 36% per year on average. And remember, it doesn't take a lot of time to do this every week. I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing a thank you for teaching the Options Paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 I've taken, a 68% winning rate. I've profited over $100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk reward trades, I've profited over 50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over my last 100 trades. And I only take trades with a 2 to 1 or better risk reward. I want to thank you for teaching this simple but effective system. Couple things. Number one, Joe trades a lot more than I do. I typically trade about 12, 15 trades a month. Joe's trading double that. That's fine. You can scale up the system to how you want it. You can trade 4 times a month if you want. It doesn't matter. But he's having success, and that's the key. And listen, if I told Joe I'd give him 100 grand in exchange for 2,000 bucks, do you think he would take that trade? Would you? Well, I got a better offer for you here in just a couple minutes. But before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. Understand, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's serious and requires some effort on your part. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously and are willing to put in time to learn the system. So if you're serious about this and you're ready to jump in and do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full complete income generating system. Just these training modules alone are worth the price of the course, but we've also got a couple of bonuses for you. Bonus number one is what we call the Mastery Package. The Mastery Package includes module by module mastery sessions. Each week, we'll have 2 mastery sessions, one dedicated to each module that's going to help you master the course material. Plus, on Friday, I have an additional live Q&A. That means you have 3 live sessions each week, giving you plenty of opportunities to ask questions and get help. We also record those, by the way, so you don't have to view those live. It also includes a private dedicated email support with me and the Options Paycheck team. Additionally, if you don't have it, we're going to give you access to VectorVest and Options Pro software. That's the stuff that I use. You can test drive the best tools on the planet to help you implement the paycheck system. You don't have to have them if you don't want to. But with this Mastery Package bonus, you'll have the tools and support you need to master the techniques taught in the course, so you're ready to place your trade in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, speaking of that, we're also going to give you what we call Implementation Month. You're going to get access to my weekly live trading sessions. You're going to watch me live, find, set up, and place trades in real time. Plus, I'll show you how I manage my existing trades each week. And this is a huge bonus. You're going to see the paycheck system in action, and you can follow along in your own account if you want to. I'll also hold live office hours twice a week. Together, we're going to walk through the system step by step in real time. Our past students said this is one of their favorite parts of the course because watching the repetition really helped them cement the concepts and the processes for them. Now, if you're worried it might be too much trying to find stocks and everything, I'll include this bonus. It's called the SPS Paycheck System. This is where I take the entire course and boil it down to something you can do in as little as 15 minutes a week. One trade type with one ticker symbol, one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. It's simple and easy to do. My teammate Brian taught this to his then 14-year-old daughter, and she was able to do the trades. And for a lot of my students, this is the only system that they use. So as a recap, with today's offer, you're going to get the Complete Options Paycheck Training Program, which includes 8 training modules, videos, checklists, cheat sheets, quizzes, slides, more. You get the bonus mastery package, the implementation month bonus, the SPX paycheck system. The total value of that offer is $54.75. So here's the opportunity in front of you. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. And if you choose to be one of them, together we're going to create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. We're going to do this. So if you want to join me and have me take you by the hand and help you install an income system in your portfolio, then instead of the $5,000, the early bird price of the course is $12.95. However, you spent about an hour with me today. So here's what I'd love to do just for you. If you order before the end of the webinar, so instead of paying that $12.95, you can get it for $9.95. That means you're going to get the full course, 1 year of access to the course, the mastery package, the implementation month, 2 months of Options Pro and VectorVest, all for $9.95. That $9.95 price will only be for those who registered before we finish up today. Once we're done with the Q&A, the price goes back to $12.95. To order, you just have to go to optionspaycheck.com. And listen, I know the $9.95 price is still a lot of money, but you got to ask yourself, what's it going to cost you not to do this? How much money are you going to lose by trying this with trial and error? How much profit are you going to miss out by waiting? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do this on your own? Then you got to ask yourself, how would your life be different if you did this and it works? There's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the second best time is? Today. It's not too late to prepare yourself for retirement and learn to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Will it be the day you decide to take action and set yourself up for secure retirement, or will it be the day you look back on where you squandered an amazing opportunity to create a good income stream? I hope you don't regret the decision you make now. Don't miss this opportunity. I look forward to working with you in class. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com. Get yourself registered now. That $9.95 price is only while we're live. If you've never taken the Options Paycheck course before and you want the lowest price, this is it. After the webinar, back to $12.95. Don't wait. I don't want you to miss out. So go to www.optionspaycheck.com right now. Get your details filled in. And also, if you know this is right for you and you're joining me, type 2 words in the chat. I'm in. I'd love to welcome you to the class by name. Now, before we start the Q&A, I want to cover some of the most common questions I hear. First is, when are the live sessions and what if I miss one? So the live course officially kicks off Tuesday, April 30th with our welcome session at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. By the way, we record all of this stuff. If you sign up today, you're going to get access to all of the curriculum. You'll get access to VectorVest and Options Pro on May 1st, but you'll get access to all the curriculum that you need. What we want you to do sometime between now and May 1st is watch Module 1 and Module 2. You watch those on your own, and then as you can see on May 1st and May 2nd, we're going to get together at 4:30 for about an hour, and we're going to cover any questions you have. We'll do the assignments. We'll review the quiz with you, just so you have an opportunity to talk to us live to answer any questions that you have. Again, those are all recorded as well, so you don't have to attend these things live if you can't or your schedule doesn't meet these sessions. On Friday, we have a noon Q&A session. Same thing. That's just going to wrap up the week. And again, if you can't view it live, not a problem. You can send us questions via email and say, hey, Ron, can you answer this in the mastery and I'll watch the recording? We'll do that for you. So as you can see, basically through the first 4 weeks of May, we're going to teach you all 8 modules. Then the last week of May, we're going to start implementing. So on Tuesday, May 28th, you're going to be invited to my live S&P 500 and stock credit spread class. Then on Wednesday, we're going to have office hours at 4:30 and 12 p.m. on Friday. Now, for those of you that work during the day and you really can't trade during the day, that Wednesday class will be really, really interesting to you because I'll show you how you can find trades when the market's closed and place orders for the next day. I do this from time to time. And then as you can see, throughout the month of June, okay, we then do on Mondays an 11 a.m. S&P class and a 2 p.m. stock class. And again, these are all recorded for you, so you can watch the recordings if you can't make the live curriculum. Now, one of our other clients, Greg, prior to the course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I can afford to lose. After taking the Options Paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made a net of $10,200 for my options income trading with 9 winners and 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You will make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of those fencers who didn't take the course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking the program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, another question that we get a lot is, how much options experience do I need? I know there's a couple of new folks in the crowd too. We poll all of our attendees after the course, and we had 85% of the course graduates said that you can be successful with little to no prior options experience. So if you're new to this, you can do it. Our statistics tell us you can do this. Here's just a few more comments that we've received from our students. Cheryl, I've surpassed my expectations. I don't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. Frank, after taking the course, I already have a profit of $7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam, I've made the initial investment back so many times over. Even though it's a small part of my portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Jake, I finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with a high probability of success. And some of our more recent students. Neville, thanks for the wonderful course. Within a short time, you opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, your desire to teach comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the training manual and have already paid for the tuition with a few 35 Delta SPX trades. David, the Options Paycheck experience is by far the best course I've ever attended all my years with VectorVest since '99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you presented the material is truly outstanding. Ben, the attention I received for all my email questions was above and beyond what I expected. A lot of my questions were demonstrated in class, which made my learning much easier. Great job. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. Remember, that $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. After the webinar, the price will increase to $12.95. Registration closes the last week, I believe it's April 30th at 10 a.m. So get yourself registered. Remember, after we go offline today, back to $12.95. And again, if you know this is right for you and you're joining me, just type 2 words in the chat box. I'm in. All right, we're going to start the Q&A officially. I'm going to bring in my colleague, Brian, and we're going to talk about some of the things in the background and some of the office things, if you will.
All right, fantastic. Great session, Ron. Lots of excitement in the chat. Kept myself, John, and Todd, your teammates, very busy answering questions and helping people out. Interestingly, we had a lot of people who have taken other things with you in the past. So we had people who have taken the paycheck course with you in the past, who have taken the income challenge that you did, where you taught SPX credit spreads. We got people who are VectorVest members right now. So a lot of people who are familiar with you and your teaching in the chat. So it's great to see them there. And I'm sure you probably remember some of their names. Yeah, when you have a time to peruse through the chat. So we have a bunch of people who are saying I'm in. I just noticed that. So I'm going to read off a few. Gary, let's see, Henry, Andrew, Edward. So all of you who are in, welcome to you. And give us I don't know, it's usually in a couple hours to get a welcome email sent out to you. So after you place your order, we'll process things, make sure we're processing it at the right price for you. Because like I said, some of you have been with us before and taken this course before, I should say. And so we'll get things processed, and you should get a welcome email from us. That should come, like I said, in a couple hours, and that'll have all the juicy details. It'll have how to get into the course. It'll have all the dates, all the times of everything that you need. So everything will be in there. So please keep an eye out for it in your inbox. If you don't see it in your inbox, please check your junk or your spam folder. It'll be there. Ron, is it okay if I take care of a couple other housekeeping items before I jump into some of the trading questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's see. I'm going to rapid fire these to try and answer as many as I can as quickly as possible. All right. First off is, when does registration close? Registration closes for good on April 30th. All right. So that is the last time everybody will be able to get in because we're going to have our first live session that afternoon. All right, so April 30th is the last day you can get in. This $9.95 rate is a special rate while we're on the webinar. So that'll go away here in a little bit. Give us usually it's probably about 25 minutes or so from now, roughly. And then it'll go back to $12.95. The only difference with that is if you are an elite member with VectorVest, some of you in the chat said, hey, I'm an elite member with VectorVest. Elite members with VectorVest get the $9.95 rate whenever you want. That's a benefit of being an elite member. Whereas people who are not elite, you would have to order right now to get the $9.95 rate. So that is there. You just have to go to optionspaycheck.com, and we'll walk you through that ordering process here in just a moment. Let's see. The other thing is some of you in the chat have taken the options paycheck before. We've taught this for several years. I always tell the team this. It changes people's lives. Like every time before we do one of these webinars where we offer this course, I'm like, hey guys, are you ready to change people's lives? And I really mean that, because of all the people throughout the years who have taken this, who have dramatically and drastically changed the trajectory of their retirement because of the income they are now able to generate. And we, reading through the surveys and seeing how people have loved the course and their results, I get excited because I really think we're changing people's lives. So we've taught this course, and some people have taken it years ago. They just want to go through it again, just to kind of get back in the groove of hearing Ron teach it again and go through his live coaching and training and seeing his trades live. So if you've taken this course before, we do offer it as a refresher for our alumni at a rate of $4.95. So if you feel you qualify as an alumni from this course, check your email, because we sent an email to you this morning with a special link just for you. Okay. Or you could just call our office and let them know you're an alumni, and we get it to you for $4.95. Now, some of you have taken Ron's Income Challenge course. There's also a discount for that. It's not down to $4.95, but it's a discount. Just call our office and they can get you a discount for that. Let's see, other housekeeping items. I think I mentioned all of those things. So Ron, before we do that, I promised. The other housekeeping item, I almost forgot, that checklist that Ron told you about at the very beginning. I did put it into the chat. Excuse me, I did. It's not the chat. It's called handouts. If you look right above where you're typing to us in the chat, there's a section in GoToWebinar called handouts. I'll look for that. It's a PDF you could download right away. That is in the handouts area. I put it there a few minutes ago. So just check that out. And other than that, Ron, I promised everybody that we would walk them through the ordering process. Would you be able to do that? Just kind of take people to optionspaycheck.com and kind of show them what that looks like?
In fact, I can.
Talk them through it. All right, perfect. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so here's the Options Paycheck Experience website. This is the www Options Paycheck that you get the link to. Now, where you want to click is right here on Register Today. But before I click on that link, if you filter and kind of scroll down the page, there's just a quick summation of everything that comes in the software and everything that comes in the package. There's some more testimonials, and right here you can say View All Testimonials. If you click on that guy, that's going to take you to a page where you can see a lot more people that ordered the class, and some of them you're familiar with, some of them you're not, but just a lot more people that have taken the course and had really good success with it. So all you got to do is click on where it says Register Today, and then only says $12.95. There we go. That was my fault. I had that was the old link I was looking at. So it should say $9.95 webinar special. Just click Buy Now and Save, and then all you got to do is simply just fill in your information here and place my order. That's really all you got to do. It's pretty simple. Okay, that's under the special webinar pricing. Just make sure that you see it's $9.95, and that'll get you in and get you signed up properly. So again, just all you got to do, Buy Now and Save, takes you to the order page, and you are good to go.
All right. And the other thing that I thought was pretty cool that you did in a webinar we did previously was you actually dove into the course and actually showed, because people want to know, like, what does this look like? What am I buying? Would you be able to show everybody what the actual course looks like after they get in?
I have that ready too.
Through those things.
It's been popular, so I always try to have these things ready now. So once you sign up, you're going to get a link that'll take you to our university site. When you log in, this is what the course looks like. Now, everything, all the lessons are on the left-hand side of the screen. And the first thing I would do is I would go to your course curriculum checklist and open that up and then print this checklist out. Because what this checklist has that's important is it basically has, what we want to do. That's the whole idea of the paycheck system. And then as you scroll down into different pages, it's got a little checklist for you that just makes sure you've done everything. So as you go through module 1, you've watched the snapshot, you've watched all the lessons, you've done the review, you did the review questions, you've done the action items. And then over here on the right, you can just, if you have any questions that you want to ask us in our live sessions or through email, you can do that. Then down towards the last page, this is the most important thing, I think. This is the schedule. Okay? So Tuesday, you can see that our live welcome session is at April 30th at 4:30. Module Mastery Session 1 is May 1st, 2 is May 2nd, the Q&A is May 3rd. All the schedule that we have is listed right through here. Okay? So print that out. That's your schedule of all the live sessions. Now remember, you don't have to do the live sessions necessarily. If you can make them, great. If you can't make them, we record them all for you. You can send us questions. We can answer them live for you, however you want to do it. Now, speaking of watching recordings, when you do the actual modules themselves, you're going to go into each one of the modules in the university. You're going to open up where it says recorded lessons, snapshot, and then all of the lessons through here. Okay? And then a review and action items. You're going to watch all those on your own time. So if you're signing up right now, within a couple hours, you'll have access to the site. what I want you to do is watch modules 1 and modules 2. Just have those watched by May 1st because we're going to start talking about them in the live masteries. Okay? There's also a video for the review and action items. We have a section that has quiz questions. There's even a video that has a walkthrough of the quiz questions for you. We have an action item walkthrough. So every module has an action item. We want you to start practicing this and actually doing some of the material. We have an FAQ section, frequently asked questions if you didn't know. And then finally, in the ending part of every module is our mastery session recording. If you open that up, now you're going to see right now a link for 131.24. That's the last mastery session that I did. So if you click on that link, you can actually watch the mastery session that I did with my prior class. Now, you don't have to watch that, obviously. It's just there. It's a placeholder. On May 1st, I'm going to do the live session with your group. The evening of May 1st, typically, we're going to upload that, and you'll see the recording from your options paycheck class. Okay? So it's like that through all 8 modules. Same outline as we go through all 8. The bonus module for the SPX trading system, there's a video about the SPX paycheck, the 35 Delta trade, review questions, kind of similar. You can walk through that at your own pace. Some of our clients watched that first, and they were able to implement SPX trades pretty much right from the beginning of the class if they wanted to do that. The next step down, this is the section where all of our Q&As and then later on our office hours recordings will be. So again, on May 3rd, we have our first live Q&A session. If I open up the link of week 1, you see one right there for February 2nd. That was the last one I did with my previous class. On May 3rd, that'll be updated, and that'll be the recording from your class. Live trading sessions, if you open those up, these are all the live trading sessions I did with my prior paycheck class. You can go look through those if you want to, just to see what I did. I'm not afraid to share my trading history. Those will, of course, be updated when we get to late May, June, when we start doing the live trading sessions for your class. As part of your tuition, you get 2 months access. It starts May 1st of Options Pro and VectorVest. Here's some tutorial videos for Options Pro if you want to watch. We actually teach you how to use Options Pro step by step as we go through the different modules. We have broker help videos for Thinkorswim, E-Trade, IB, Ally, and Fidelity. And then lastly is the webinar links. 24 hours before the live webinars, we send you out a link. Sometimes, unfortunately, the links go to all kinds of weird places. Clutter, junk, spam, whatever. If you don't get the email, all you got to do is log into university, go to your live webinar link, and then here's the links for all the live webinars. I click on that link right there. It takes me right to the GoToWebinar page for that first welcome session. And every week, we unlock all the sessions for the upcoming week. And then finally, under the resources section, this is where you're going to find all of the handouts. So if you want to print out the slides that we use, black and white, color, the worksheets, these are all through here throughout the 8 modules. As we get towards the end, you're going to see things like the position sizing worksheet. And module 8, you'll see our checklist. In the bonus module, you'll see all of our checklists for the 35 Delta trades, the trade tracking spreadsheet, all of that great stuff. So that's all located in the university site that you'll be getting access to once you sign up.
I love this comment from Gary. He said, I already have the options paycheck course in my dashboard. That was fast. Yep. So, which is actually a great point. So those of you who are in, when you log in, you'll have access to the course, should be today, right? You'll have access in there. And we recommend you start going through it. Like Ron said, you could, since the first live session isn't for 2 weeks, you can actually either go through the modules as they're listed, or you could do what some other people have done. And actually, some of our clients recommend doing this because it's actually a lot of people's favorite part of the course, which is the SPX bonus. And Ron was showing this when he was going through the course. You could jump ahead to that, and who knows, you could be placing those trades next week if you wanted to. All right, so thank you for sharing that, Gary, in the chat. All right, so Ron, going to some trading questions. I was talking to Will in the chat. I believe he uses Fidelity because he was asking about that broker. Mm-hmm. So he says, do you use Fidelity? And I was telling him how you place live trades with Fidelity in your retirement account. But speaking of brokers, are there brokers that you use for this, recommend, or are there things that you want to tell people along the broker front, I should say?
Sure. I mean, I will tell you this. I am a little bit biased, but if I could choose any broker out there, I would choose Schwab and I would choose their Thinkorswim platform. I've been using that for, probably 10 plus years at this point. They have a lot of great tools. I think they're pretty easy to use. Second, I would probably go with a broker like Interactive Brokers. Their platform, while it's a little clunky, also has pretty much all of the tools you will ever need. After that, I'd say Fidelity. Fidelity is really good. I do place trades with Fidelity using my IRA with Fidelity. E-Trade is also really, really good. They have most of the tools you're going to need. Now, when I say most of the tools, the biggest thing is some brokers offer more, what's the best way to describe this? They offer more complex order systems. Like you can place different levels of stops, you can place different levels of contingency orders. Pretty much every broker out there, with the exception of like a Robinhood, is going to have all of the options tools you need. And that's one thing I want you also to understand. We're going to give you access to Options Pro and VectorVest. By no means do you absolutely have to use those. When we get into the live trading, we get into the office hours, I'm going to split. I'm going to do one office hour showing you how to use VectorVest and Options Pro. I'll use another office hour showing you how to do things in Thinkorswim or Fidelity or E-Trade. So while VectorVest and Options Pro are great tools, they're not mandatory. You can do this without those with just a simple broker software. But like I said, I would put my favorite in, Thinkorswim, IB, Fidelity, E-Trade. Those are my top at the list that I've actually used.
All right, fabulous, Ron. Ron, the other question is, as far as the recordings, I know when you're going through the calendar, you mentioned this, but I guess it's worth repeating because it's come up, which is, does somebody have access to, I mean, you showed a lot of sessions. Do they have access to the recordings? What if they can't make a session? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Definitely. So once we do the live session, it usually takes us a couple hours. I say a couple hours, kind of like tonight, right? I said, if you sign up right now, within a couple hours, you'll have access to the course. And then boom, you have access to it instantly. I always like to err on the side of caution. So usually within a couple hours after the live event, we'll have the recording uploaded to that university site. So all of those recordings and everything, you're going to have access to those for 1 calendar year after the end of the course. So yep, whether you attend live or not, you'll have those recordings in there. You'll be able to view them at your leisure.
And the cool thing also is that if you can't make a live session, Ron's got a ton of live sessions to help you out. But if you can't make one, we have an email address. It's a private email just for students that you could send an email. Go to Ron, John, Todd, just our options coaches. And you could specify in that email, hey, can you answer this in the live session? And even if you can't make it live, you could watch the recording and actually watch Ron answer your question during the session. But even if you don't get it answered in the live session, if you don't ask for that, you'll get a reply via email. So we have a lot of support available to you inside of the Options Paycheck course. You will. I'm just going to say this: if you go through it, you're not going to be disappointed. There's just a lot of support, a lot of training. People have loved it, and I think you'll be making a great decision if you do it. All right. So other than that, Ron, this is one thing I do want to touch on because we got a bunch of people here, and when we ask people when they're done with the class, what their biggest hesitation was prior to purchasing. And the biggest hesitation is always price. They're like, oh man, I don't know, it's $995. And we've got some people in the chat who actually said, hey, I'm already a VectorVest member. I'm paying a subscription to VectorVest right now. And man, I got to pay another $995 for this course, man. So it's like I have a hesitation about paying for this. What would you say to somebody who's hesitant about the paying for this? Obviously, it's an investment. There's money up front. It's not like just going to Starbucks and buying a coffee here. What would you tell somebody who is hesitant about the price?
Well, to be fair, it's pretty much similar to a Starbucks coffee anymore. But, in any case, the biggest thing I will tell you is this. This is why we have that money back guarantee. I know that a lot of people, and myself included, listen, I go to Facebook, I see all these ads about, 500% returns and this and that. And who can you believe? Who can you trust? I'm already paying this money. How do I know if this 995 is really going to be worth my effort, worth my time? I get it, right? That's why we offer you that money back guarantee. I don't want you to have to make that determination now. Yes, you're going to have to pay the 995, but at the end, I want you to judge the course for if it was worth it to you. If it wasn't worth it to you, and if you feel like you didn't get the value that you thought you were going to, you have that ability to just get a refund for it within 1 week at the end of the class. So that should be your security blanket, knowing that you're not locked in. You're not locked in until we show you basically everything, including our live trades. Now I would ask you, if we have a couple of bad trades during that month, not to, throw the whole system away, because listen, you're going to have bad months. You're going to have bad trades occasionally. You got to do this for a period of time. But that's our way of saying, listen, try it out. We know the investment is there, but have confidence because we are willing to put, our guarantee to this course that we know that you're going to have success and like what you see.
All right. Now pardon me, the next up, Ron, the next question from people is actually, I was going to say the next, I won't touch on that one just yet. Let me just do a quick reminder of some housekeeping items. Go to optionspaycheck.com. That's where you can go to place your order. Go there now, because I believe you only have a few more minutes for the $9.95 rate. Then I'll go back to $12.95. Remember, the registration closes on the 30th. Okay. And other than that, remember, if you've taken this course before, you can call our office and ask for your alumni/refresher rate. Ron, I will ask you this: that in the surveys, people do have a hesitation because they think they're like, I was hesitant to purchase it because it was marketing hype. Mm-hmm. And you touched on this earlier, but would you kind of touch on it again? Like, if somebody was like, is this all just marketing hype? I don't know if this is real. What would you say to somebody who's worried that this is just like I wish I could scroll back fast enough. There was a gentleman at the very beginning of today's session who said something similar.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I'll find it. He basically said, I've taken, oh man, I wish I could find it. Basically, he said, I've taken classes before that are, he didn't call them get rich quick schemes, but he was just like, he called them like no miss or can't miss systems. He's like, I've taken those before. They always don't work. What would you tell somebody who's feeling like they've been burnt like that before, and they're like, is this just the same thing all over again? What would you say to them?
I mean, it's a valid concern. Absolutely. I think it's a very valid concern because, again, I go out there and, I'm bombarded with that stuff too. I really, really am. And, it's just kind of interesting. What's the first, and I'm not saying anything negative about this company or any company in particular, right? But what do I see? One of the first things I see on my Facebook site, 554%, trade this, not this. It's like you're bombarded with these ridiculous, I don't know, ridiculous numbers and these things that are just so out there. I get it. I would be frustrated too. I I don't want you to take this the wrong way. What I would say is this: if it was marketing hype, I would hype this thing much more than 3% per month. I would make it a little bit more unbelievable. But I think that you can do much better than 3%. I've done 3%, I've done 60%, I've done a lot more than that. I try to give you something that is not extraordinary. I base what I'm talking about, that 3% per month on average, off of real results that I actually have gotten. That's why, in the beginning, and I don't know if you saw this in the beginning. That's why, I put up there, hey, this is what my numbers look like for, and let me get this back up there for you. I got to remember how to use PowerPoint. That's why I say, listen, this is my trade rate. I was almost 60% right last year. I had $37,226 in profits. But look, in January, I started out the year with a 7% loss. Overcame it in February, right? And by the end of March, I was still up about 2%. You're going to have gains. You're going to have losses. That's why I like to show you real numbers from this. Even in 2024, look, I lost money in January. You're going to have months like that. But then I got 5.2% in February, 5.8% in March. April, I'm down a little bit, to be fair. I'm down probably about 5% in April so far because the market's changed from a bullish to a bearish trend. And I always have a little bit of drawdown during those times. So, I try to be realistic in what I promise and in what the system can do. And the other thing is, you're going to see it when it comes time for that implementation month because you're going to see me placing real trades. You're going to see me using the system and placing everything. I don't place trades that I don't let my clients see. I don't do it anymore. We have a coaching room, we have a trading room that we do our classes in that you'll get access to in the second month. Anytime I do something, I am always letting them know. So I don't have like any hidden trades that, oh, that's because I made this much money in this trade and I didn't tell you about it. Every one of my trades is pretty much public access to my coaching groups. So, have confidence that everything that you see is something that's been seen before. Somebody has seen me place those trades. That's really the key of it. And again, I don't expect you to trust me just on my word. That's why we also have that money back guarantee backing it up. That way you can say, okay, Ron, you sound good, but just in case you don't, I have this out plan as well.
All right, Ron, I'm not sure if there's two comments left that we'll address for today. One is actually just a comment, and I don't know if you could snip it and share it with everybody and just kind of cut off the person's last name. His name is also Ron, so it's not just Ron typing to himself in the chat. This is Ron B. He typed into the chat, as a Paycheck alumni, I can say that Ron is a great teacher and the course will well worth the $9.95. I'm going to join again, even though I trade daily, just so I can join Ron's classes again. So a nice little feedback from Ron in the chat. Not Ron the coach, but can't go wrong with Ron's, right?
No, you're. Right there, you're a genius because your name's Ron. Let's be honest.
And then the other one is from Aaron. This is more of a trading question and wants to know more about specifics. He says, how much money is being risked on each trade to accomplish those returns? And maybe a similar question earlier, I was answering somebody who wanted to know how many contracts are you trading? And I told him it depends on the risk. So since we're talking about risk, maybe you could touch on that topic.
Right. So kind of going back, and you guys can see this here again. I'll go back to those numbers. So if you look at my 2023 results, my average winning trade's 1,000, my average losing trade's 1,000. Now, when you look at a trade, like we do things, there's two things. There's max risk and then there's real risk. Our max risk to make $1,000 might be $3,000. That's if the trade blows up on you and the stock drops by 30%. That doesn't happen. It's never happened to me ever. Okay. So what we do is we exit the stock when the price of the stock passes the strike price of the option we sold. So what we're typically looking for, and it really depends on, how you do this. Typically speaking, the most you would ever risk to make $1,000 is $2,000. That's pretty much the most you would ever risk. I personally don't like to go that far. I like to keep my risk right around my average winner. So you can see in 2023, this is a bunch of SPX trades and stock trades put together, whereas this year, it hasn't done that so far yet. I'm still doing a lot of stock trades over SPX trades. So my average winner this year has been 887 with the average loser of 755. These trades typically require, the way I do them with a $100,000 account, you're going to be placing $3,000 to $5,000 as a margin requirement, and the average risk per trade will usually be no more than about $1,000. Contract size is different. There's trades I do 3 contracts on. There's trades I do 15 contracts on, depending on the credit that I receive. And we talk a lot more about that in Module 7, about how to size your positions properly. In fact, I can show you guys this real quick. Bear with me. since you're still here, you seem excited. Let me see here real quick. This is one of the things that you're going to get when you sign up for the course. This is an Excel spreadsheet that tells you all the stuff you need to know. I have a $25,000 account. That means the most I can make on my trades is $470. That number's right there. This is my profit. This is my maximum loss that I can take per trade. The trade gives me a 68-cent credit. You trade 7 contracts. So again, I don't expect you to understand everything that you see here on this screen, but one of the things that we give you as part of the course in Module 7 is this spreadsheet that's going to help you identify what your risks should be, identify how many contracts you trade based on your trading size. We kind of include all that for you to make sure you're not risking too much money.
All right. Well, with that, Ron, I'm going to actually pass it over to you. I think we're done with all the questions that have come in. So we're excited to start this up in a couple of weeks. We look forward to having you go through some of the training, and you can even start asking questions through the private email address. But Ron, I'm going to pass it over to you to wrap things up for the night.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I was about an hour and 40 minutes, so I definitely appreciate you sticking around till the end. For those of you that are signing up, thank you, and thank you for putting your trust in me. I appreciate it. We're going to have a great 2 months together. We're going to show you how to implement this, make it work, and really show you how to get those results that we talked about. So you're gonna get your money's worth, I promise. So with that, I bid you a fine good evening. We'll see you all on April 30th for our welcome session. If not, you can always watch the recording, of course. But I want to thank you one final time and wish you the best of success. And for those of you that signed up, I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great evening and see you then. Take care.